On today's show, they've been hiking now for nearly a century and loving every step along the way. Time to meet the folks from the St. Paul Hiking Club. It's called the King of Cats, and Minnesota has them, the often huge flathead catfish. We'll tag along with those anglers consumed by the pursuit of the King of Cats.
Catfish wrangling.
Most of us gather food from the grocery store, so what's good to eat from nature's food shelves? Time to learn about wild berries and such. Just don't pick poison ivy. Those stories and more, next.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota Select GMC Dealers.
Hi everybody, Raven and I welcome you to the show. Our first story is for folks who like to hike. Did you know the St. Paul Hiking Club is one of the oldest in Minnesota? If that's your thing, Laura Shera will take you on a walk.
As they say, everyone who walks with nature receives more than they seek.
We're outdoors and we see 4 seasons and we hike rain or shine.
There's such a great group of people. It's really fun though.
So maybe that's the reason the St. Paul Hiking Club has been around for nearly a century.
This club has a really deep history, and it was founded in 1921, is that right?
1921 in January, not exactly the peak of hiking season. Director of the St. Paul Park and Recreation Department wanted clubs formed, and one of his employees, Grace Cummings, started the hiking club, and they started hiking in February, a great month for hiking around here.
Sign up.
Well, there's about 80 members, and we hike on Sunday. We do about 5 miles. Tuesday night, like tonight now, we do about 3 miles. It costs $10 a year. You could come and try out maybe first 2 or 3 times if you want, and then finally, pay your membership.
They go the distance, and so do their ages.
Don't know if we have any who are under 50 that hike regularly, and they go up to 88.
And oh, the places they go.
A lot of neighborhoods, a lot of nature centers. We even walk through some of the cemeteries because they're actually pretty nice and they're quiet. I mean, we've hiked Woodbury, we hiked in Minneapolis, we've hiked mostly right here, in the Twin Cities. And we walk in so many different places. That's one of the things I like. I mean, even after hiking all these years, I'm going to places that I hadn't seen.
It's not about rain or shine, warm or cold.
All the people that you meet, the friendships, and just most people do it because they like walking. I mean, we walk rain or shine, we walk in the winter. We even walked when it's 10 below. You might only get about 4 or 5 people, and like this time of year, you might get up to 25, 30 on a walk.
Well, a lot of the closest friendships are people I got to join, so then we walk together and and then going out for a beer afterwards is always nice.
Friendship and hiking, the two go hand in hand.
When we return, we'll hang out with anglers who seek the King of Cats, as in flathead catfish. Fish on!
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota Select GMC Dealers. Kingtail Gator. Borderview Lodge. Jesse Treble's Safe Basements of Minnesota. And by Evinrude, the official outboard motor of Minnesota Bound.
Lurking in the Minnesota River is a fish that some of you would not believe. It's the flathead cat. Some folks call it the King of Cats, and some folks who know the King of Cats get really hooked on that fish. Travis Frank has the story.
Call it business casual.
When Darren Troseth punches the clock at work, he heads straight to the water. But this isn't a typical fishing trip. He's the bait man.
There we go. That's a perfect size right there.
And that's his bait.
Right.
Across town, John Kimball readies the boat. He's the boat man. Together, he and Darren share a passion.
Lots of big fish. Yeah, lots of big fish.
Fewer than 20 miles from Minneapolis skyscrapers, they meet up at an empty Minnesota River boat ramp. And I get a glimpse into the life of these one-of-a-kind catfishing kings.
You guys are in for a fun ride. Let's go fishing, boys. Let's do it. You're going to exotic places and trees, and you're going up creeks, and it's a different type of fishing.
Go do sweet things, buddy. Kaboom! Now that is serious. That's the sound we're after right there. Trap is set.
This is certainly interesting. Generally, they're predators at night. Nighttime is the right time.
Catfishing is a waiting game. Our wait turns to music.
Take me home. This is my therapy. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and it keeps me happy, so that's what's important. I get excited when the bait gets excited. It's just gorgeous out here. You feel like you're in nature, nobody around, and you're chasing the dominant predator of this body of water.
Oh!
Too hard.
Really?
Way too hard. I just snapped that line on Way too
hard. No! Nobody wants an empty hook. Especially with a trophy on the line.
I hate to tell you, but that acted like a big fish. It was just real slow moving with it.
Come on now.
That's the way the big. That's the
way the big one's
gonna say it.
Sure, I missed a giant. Back in 2007, these two launched a catfishing contest they call King of the Cats.
So it's a catch and release contest where everyone throughout the whole season keep track of their 3 biggest fish.
Anglers measure the length and girth, taking a quick photo with the official logo.
At the end of the year, the top 5 people are deemed King of the Cats.
When we prepare for the night. Tonight we hope for a fish worthy of the crown.
Got him. There we go.
That one feels like a channel cat.
Fish on.
It's a decent channel cat.
You call that a little guy?
Yeah, that's just a little guy. Boy, he's spunky.
Nice work, boys. I never had to get out of my chair. Nice work. The channel cats are not what I'm after.
John did not move off of his chair.
We want to see fish that are 30 pounds or bigger. That's when we get excited.
Catfish wrangling. Even in a midnight flurry, it's clear a true giant doesn't come easy. Exactly what keeps this catfishing team coming back.
It's definitely something that gets in your blood over time. You can't explain. It's basically a drug. It's my high. And at any given moment, you can catch a fish that's over 50 pounds, and it's just a blast.
Derek, go. Fish on. Extreme net man coming up.
Nice. Well, that's what we come out here for. Those fish get 40 pounds bigger than that even, so.
That is the apex predator of this river.
That's what we came for. They get bigger, but that's okay. That's still a really cool creature. But tonight, it's just another fish for this catfish duo in their never-ending quest to become the king of the cats.
Coming up, finding tasty delights in Mother Nature's garden. What's not to like about wild berries? Absolutely nothing.
Closed captioning from Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut.
Now, most of the time, if we want something to eat, we go to a restaurant or a grocery store. But there are some folks who go in the great outdoors looking for some of nature's bounties, such as berries. Laura Shera went shopping.
I see a black raspberry plant. Let's go in and check it out.
Spot a few.
All right.
Teresa Maroney knows all about searching for tasty treats in Mother Nature's grocery store.
We'll kind of climb in here. Now this is a very nice black raspberry plant. Has a lot of ripe berries. It also has unripe berries. This is the rubus clan, which includes black raspberries, red raspberries, and blackberries. And those are all safe.
Now I'm guessing the trick is not to eat the berries before you put them in the bucket.
That's the hardest part of picking black raspberries because they're so good.
If Teresa sounds like an expert about nature's bounty, that's because she is.
I've been writing books on primarily outdoor cooking and outdoor topics for a very long time. I am actually the author of about 20 books.
As Teresa explains in her books, most of us tend to shy away from biting into things that grow in the wild. But nature's table is safe if you know what you're eating.
Nothing wrong with those. Even though a plant has edible portions, the entire plant may not be edible. So if you think about, for example, common rhubarb, which grows in your garden, you can eat the stalks, but if you eat the leaves, you'll have a pretty bad reaction because they're full of oxalic acid. Wild foods are just like that. Parts are edible and other parts aren't. The best advice is to consult several sources when you're learning about wild foods and wild berries, any kind of wild foods.
Our quest today? It's to hunt, gather, and taste the sweetness of nature while avoiding the dreaded leaves of 3, poison ivy.
Well, here's one thing you want to avoid when picking black raspberries, and this is
poison ivy. And the way to identify it, it's always got 3 leaves. The central leaf is a little bit longer, and it has a longer stemlet, which is called the petiole.
So you know what they say, if it has 3, let it be, right?
Or run and flee, yes.
Run and flee.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
See, you've got the raspberry juice on your fingers. That's how you know you're having a good day.
That's right.
Yeah. I usually think of black raspberries in Minnesota from maybe the 4th of July through the end of July, year to year, depending, but that's about the scope of it. Black raspberries are really a good thing for beginning foragers because they're super easy to identify. There really isn't anything that looks like them that's toxic. And that's really important when you're picking wild foods. Oh,
this over here.
That looks good. Let's go get those.
As we hunted and gathered more of nature's treats, Teresa spotted another common fruit.
All right, here's another plant you can look for in Minnesota from late June through mid-July, and this is a chokecherry. And like all cherries, it has a big hard stone pit, so you can't just eat it. It's typically juiced to make jelly and jam and things like that. There's the pit, and you can chew on these. Those are sour. Once you sweeten them to make a jelly, they're really, really good. They have a terrific flavor. They're just really sour for eating raw.
Okay, enough picking. Time to meet Chef Jim Kimbert, who plans to turn nature's delights into dessert.
We are ready for the cobbler topping. If you want to just put little dollops all across the top of that. Well, right before we put on the lid, I want to sprinkle just a little bit of cinnamon sugar on there. Teresa, if you want to help me with this one. We're going to put the lid on there. Put it back over, directly over those coals. Now in one smooth move, we're gonna lift that baby off. Ta-da!
Who's ready to dig in? Because I certainly am.
I am.
Looks great.
This looks amazing.
The true meaning of going wild around the campfire.
Wow.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Running Aces Casino and Racetrack, Tracker Boats, and by Totem Resorts.
Time now for our Minnesota Bound Classic, and this one is one of my favorite stories of all time. It's about a man named Otis. Now, it's difficult to describe Otis because he's an artist of many different things.
I just like doing things with my hands, and I like individuality.
This is the story of Otis W. Lael, a proud American. Otis who?
I'm Otis W. Lael. I'm a retired Air Force Master Sergeant. And I hope I'm a master fish carver.
Now, Otis skipped a few details.
That's a laugh.
At the age of 76, going on ageless, Otis is a fish maker who tells it hook, line, and sinker.
I cut what I think would be a good decoy. Some of them are good, some of them should be shown on laugh in. I'm a primitive carver. I'm not a beautiful carver. My fish don't look like they just come out of the lake. They come out of a warped mind.
Warped piscatorial magic.
My decoys start out with a piece of birch wood, and I can get it cheap. And that's my middle name's Cheap.
For roughly 35 years now, Otis has played cheap tricks on northern pike, who are attracted to his fish decoys during Minnesota's fish spearing season.
The resorters would come and want these fish decoys, so I started making them for sale in there, and this would have been in the late 70s.
This artist says he's lucky, however, lucky to have a wife, Shirley.
She's my chief salesman. I'm not a salesman at all. If I had to depend on it for a living, I'd starve to death.
Otis the fish maker creates one fish at a time, and no two are alike.
I can't sit down and make 10 things exactly the same. It's no fun. Anything I find that looks like it could be added to a decoy for my amusement, I buy it, or steal it, or scrounge it, whatever. In all these little drawers and scattered about here is stuff that I use to decorate decoys or put on fins or something to do with decoys. I even save beer caps.
When Otis says everything,
one time or another I've used it all.
That's exactly what he means.
And I insert that in the back of a fish, and I got these little fingers set up like a dorsal fin. Sometimes on the fish I put Minnesota on one side, and I cut 10,000 lakes and put that on the other side. Here's another one that has coins embedded on it.
And every fish is finished with his signature. Now Otis is well aware each new fish he makes could be his last. He is in a fight with cancer.
I have leukemia, and I don't last very long.
At his age, he's no stranger to a hospital, but he makes that fun too.
I've got the bedpan blues. That's what I've got. This is the 14th bedpan upon which I've thought. I've got the strangest feeling way down in my gut that they'll never build a bedpan that'll fit my butt. I'm stuck here in the hospital.
From inspiring folk songs to inspiring folk art, these are the life and times of Otis the fish maker.
I just want to enjoy myself and what time I've got left. Because I've got the bedpan blues. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Otis, that guitar you made. Rest in peace, my friend. Well, that about does it for us. Remember, introduce a kid to the great outdoors. I'm Ron Sherrill, and of course, always the star of the show is paying no attention to me. Is Raven. Yes, you are.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. For more information on these stories and more, catch us on the web at mnbound.com.